I'm a 28-year-old male and grew up with an older brother. Let's call him Marcus, a 30-year-old male. When I say Marcus was the favorite child, I mean he was in teen favorite. You know those Reddit posts where people talk about their parents playing favorites? Yeah, multiply that by about 1,000. Looking back now, it's actually kind of insane how obvious it was. But when you're a kid growing up in that environment, you just think it's normal. Let me give you some examples of what I mean. When we were in high school, Marcus got caught stealing money from our mom's purse. Not just a few bucks, but $200. You know what happened? Mom said he must have needed it for something important and just let it go. Meanwhile, I got grounded for a month because I forgot to take out the trash. I'm not even joking. Another time, Marcus crashed Dad's car when he was 17. He was texting while driving. Yeah, really smart. Instead of getting punished, my parents bought him his own car because he learned his lesson and needed reliable transportation for college. When I asked for help buying a car 2 years later, they told me I needed to learn responsibility and save up for it myself. It wasn't just the big stuff either. It was all the little things too, every single day. Like during dinner, my parents would ask Marcus about his day, his friends, his plans. They'd sit there nodding and smiling at everything he said. But when it was my turn, "That's nice" was all I'd get. After a while, I just stopped trying to tell them anything. Marcus knew exactly what he was doing too. He wasn't just some clueless golden child. Nah, this dude was calculated. He had this way of twisting everything to make himself look good and me look bad. Like this one time in middle school, he broke Mom's favorite vase-playing ball in the house, which we weren't supposed to do. Guess who got blamed? Yep, me, because Marcus told them I dared him to do it and he was just trying to make me happy. I was literally doing homework in my room when it happened. The worst part was that smirk he'd get whenever he pulled something like this off. You know, that look someone gets when they know they've gotten away with something? That was his permanent expression around me. But only when our parents weren't looking, of course. To them, he was this perfect, caring older brother who was just looking out for his little bro. It got to the point where I just accepted that nothing I did would ever be good enough. I could have cured cancer, and they would have asked why I didn't cure all diseases, like Marcus would have. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but you get what I mean. The thing is, Marcus wasn't even that special. He got decent grades, was okay at sports, had some friends, just a normal guy. But my parents treated him like he was God's gift to the world. Meanwhile, I was doing just as well in school, had my own friends, played sports too, but somehow that was never worth mentioning. I tried talking to my parents about it once when I was around 16, bad idea. They told me I was being jealous and immature and that I should try to be more like Marcus. More like Marcus, that was their solution to everything. It became this running joke in my head, got a B instead of an A. Should have been more like Marcus. Girl turned me down for a date. Should have been more like Marcus. Raining outside? Well, if you were more like Marcus, it would have been sunny. Looking back now, I can see how all of this set up what happened later. How it made it so easy for him to do what he did. When you spend your whole life being the golden child who can do no wrong, I guess you start thinking you can get away with anything. And when you spend your whole life watching your brother manipulate everyone around him, you should probably see it coming when he finally turns that manipulation towards something you really care about. But I didn't see it coming. Even after everything I just wrote, even knowing what kind of person he was, I still didn't think he'd go as far as he did. Maybe that makes me naive, but I really thought some things were off limits, even for him. Guess I was wrong about that too. So, after dealing with all that family stuff I talked about, I focused on building my own life. I landed a solid position at a marketing firm, handling digital operations and troubleshooting. Nothing fancy, but it paid the bills, and I was good at it. That's where I met Rachel. It was during this company picnic thing in 2018. You know, those forced fun work events where everyone pretends to enjoy hanging out with their coworkers? Yeah, one of those. I was hiding near the food table. Best place to avoid small talk, trust me. When this girl walked up and said, "I see we had the same idea about the strategic snack table position." That was Rachel. She worked in marketing 2 floors up from my department. We got talking about how these events were basically corporate torture and somehow ended up spending the whole afternoon just chatting. She had this way of making fun of things without being mean about it, if that makes sense. Like she'd point out how ridiculous something was, but in a way that made you laugh instead of feeling bitter. We started having lunch together at work. Nothing romantic at first, just 2 people trying to survive the corporate grind. Then one day, she mentioned wanting to see this new Marvel movie, but none of her friends were into superhero stuff. I offered to go with her. Smooth, right? We went to this small theater near work, and halfway through the movie, she grabbed my hand during this intense scene. She didn't let go, even after the scene was over. Things just clicked after that. Rachel was different from anyone I had dated before. She actually listened when I talked about stuff, like, really listened, not just waiting for her turn to speak. We could talk about serious things, stupid things, or just sit in comfortable silence. The first year was amazing. We'd do these random weekend trips, just pick a direction and drive. After about 2 years, we moved in together, got this small apartment that barely fit our combined stuff, but it was ours. That's when I started thinking about proposing. I even started saving up for a ring, and that's when Marcus came back into the picture. I hadn't seen him much since moving out of our parents' house, just the occasional family dinner where I'd show up, stay an hour, then leave. But when he heard I was dating someone serious, thanks Mom, he suddenly wanted to reconnect. At first, I wanted to believe it. Maybe he was growing up, maybe he actually wanted to fix things between us. But then he started showing up at our apartment unannounced, always acting like it was casual. But I could tell he was watching, studying Rachel, testing the waters. He'd bring up my past relationships in front of her, little digs disguised as jokes. Man, you sure you want to settle down? You never had the best track record with commitment. Hope this one works out better than the others. And then there was the way he talked to her. The compliments that lingered just a little too long. The playful teasing that never crossed a clear line but somehow felt like it did. He'd lean in when he laughed at her jokes, always finding an excuse to touch her arm. He'd remember things she mentioned offhand, bringing them up later like he was the one who truly listened. And Rachel? She actually liked him, said he was charming, funny, thought it was sweet how he was trying to be a better brother. That's the thing about Marcus. He could make anyone believe anything. And me? I told myself I was overthinking it, that I was just being paranoid, that he was trying to be better. Although I brought it up to Rachel many times, I tried to ignore that gut feeling. The one telling me that Marcus never wanted to reconnect. Turned out, he wanted to take. I remember the last normal day we had. We were just lounging around the apartment. Rachel was grading some marketing reports and I was fixing her laptop that had been acting up. Everything was just peaceful. I keep thinking about that day, about how I had no idea what was coming, about how I should have held on to her tighter or said something more meaningful. But you never know when your last normal day is going to be, right? It all started with a work conference in Seattle. Rachel couldn't come because she had this big marketing campaign launching that week. So, yeah, I went alone. I actually took lots of pictures while I was there, posted updates on our group chat with Rachel and some friends, even FaceTimed with Rachel every night, showing her the view from my hotel room. The conference ended on Thursday. I flew back Friday morning, grabbed some coffee at the airport, and headed straight to work because I had a bunch of stuff to catch up on. Everything seemed normal. Rachel texted me about meeting up for dinner later. I remember replying, "Can't wait to see you," like an idiot who had no idea his life was about to implode. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Rachel showed up at my office. I thought she was just surprising me, but when I looked up from my computer, her face was wrong. She was holding her phone so tight her knuckles were white. She didn't say anything at first, just stood there shaking. "Can you explain this?" she finally said and showed me her phone. It was a video of me, except it wasn't me. But it looked exactly like me, down to the shirt I'd worn to the conference. In the video, I was kissing some girl in what looked like a hotel lobby. The video quality was disturbingly good. If I hadn't known for a fact that I spent every evening in my hotel room watching Netflix and FaceTiming Rachel, I might have questioned myself. The lighting was perfect, the movements looked natural, even the background matched the hotel I stayed at. It was like watching a version of me I didn't recognize, doing something I knew I hadn't done. I immediately started explaining, "Rachel, this isn't real. I wasn't there. I never even left my room after work." I pulled up my phone, scrolling frantically. Look, my location history, my Google timeline, it shows exactly where I was. I held it out to her, my heart pounding. "You know me, you know I wouldn't do this." But Rachel barely glanced at my screen, her expression cold. "Don't lie to me," she snapped. "I can see you in the video. It's you, wearing the exact same clothes you had at that conference, same hotel, same everything. What am I supposed to believe? Someone just magically made this up?" I opened my mouth, but the words stuck. The video looked too real. The details, the way I moved, the way I turned my head, it was perfect. Someone had put serious effort into this. Even the grainy timestamp in the corner made it look like legitimate security footage. "I swear, Rachel," I said, desperation creeping into my voice. "This isn't me." She shook her head, taking a step back. "I can't do this," she muttered, her voice cracking. "I can't be with someone who lies straight to my face." And just like that, I felt everything slipping through my fingers. While I was trying to explain, my office phone started ringing. It was Marcus, all worried, saying Rachel had called him crying about some video, asking if I was okay, if there was anything he could do to help, playing the concerned brother perfectly. That's when I started piecing it together, the way Marcus had been hanging around so much, how he always seemed to know our schedules. He must have been planning this for weeks, maybe months. I knew he had a thing for my girlfriend from the beginning, but I still wasn't really sure if it was him. Rachel wasn't hearing any of it, though. She kept rewatching the video, pointing out details. "That's exactly how you walk," she said. "That's the suit you packed for the conference dinner." She was right. The details were perfect. Too perfect. "Marcus warned me about this," she muttered, still staring at the screen. "He said you'd try to lie. He told me how guys always say it's fake when they get caught, that they start scrambling, throwing around excuses, trying to make you doubt what you're seeing with your own eyes." She looked up then, and the hurt in her face cut deeper than anything. "I didn't want to believe him, but look at this. Look at you. What else am I supposed to think?" I knew it. Marcus had gotten to her first. He had already poisoned her mind against me, setting the stage so no matter what I said, I'd sound like the guilty one scrambling to cover his tracks. And the worst part? He was the only person who could have done this. The only one who had access to me, my schedule, my clothes, my habits. The only one who had a reason to go this far. The worst part? Some of our coworkers saw Rachel crying in my office. Within an hour, everyone knew. You know how office gossip works. It spreads faster than a virus. By the end of the day, my boss called me in for a discussion about company values. I went home that night to an empty apartment. Rachel had packed a bag and gone to stay with her friend. The next morning, I got a message from Rachel saying she'd found more evidence. Marcus had somehow manufactured a whole trail, fake hotel receipts, more security camera footage, even faked text messages. He'd thought of everything. I stared at my screen, trying to make sense of it. Where had this even come from? How did he have access to all this? The receipts, the timestamps, the footage. It wasn't just some thrown-together attempt to frame me. This was deliberate. This took planning. And that's what made my skin crawl. The sheer amount of effort he put into this, the level of detail. How far had he gone? I couldn't just sit there. I needed answers. That night, I drove straight to Marcus's place, barely remembering the turns. By the time I banged on his door, he opened it with that same smug expression I'd seen 100 times growing up, leaning lazily against the frame like this was nothing more than an inconvenience. "Wow, you look terrible," he said, smirking. "Rough couple of days?" I shoved past him into his apartment, barely holding myself together. "I know it was you," I said, my voice low, dangerous. He just laughed. "You think I have time to ruin your life? Please, you're not that important." I wanted to hit him, really wanted to. My fists curled at my sides, my whole body thrumming with adrenaline. But that's what he wanted. He was waiting for me to snap, to give him an excuse to play the victim, then explain the receipts, the footage, the texts. Explain how Rachel just happened to get a perfect trail of proof after talking to you. He just shrugged. Maybe she finally opened her eyes and saw you for what you are. Or maybe, he leaned in slightly, lowering his voice like he was letting me in on a joke. You're just desperate to blame someone else because you can't admit what you did. My hands twitched, ready to swing. I took a step forward, and for the first time I saw something flicker across his face. Anticipation. He wanted this to escalate. I forced myself to take a step back. If I hit him, he'd use it, twist it, turn it into something even worse. I exhaled sharply, my fists shaking as I backed toward the door. You're a liar, Marcus, and you're going to regret this. And you're pathetic. His voice was dripping with amusement, but hey, good luck proving it. I slammed the door so hard behind me that the walls rattled, but it didn't make me feel any better. That weekend was a blur. Rachel wouldn't answer my calls. My boss had put me on administrative leave pending investigation. Marcus was texting me about how disappointed he was, offering to help me get therapy for my issues. By Monday morning, my life was pretty much over. I walked into work, and security was waiting for me at the entrance. They had a box with my stuff from my desk. My keycard didn't work anymore. Just like that, 5 years at the company, gone. My boss sent this super corporate email about maintaining our company's reputation and upholding moral standards. HR followed up with some paperwork about how they were terminating my employment, effective immediately. Nobody even asked for my side of the story. I tried calling Rachel again. Her friend picked up instead, told me to stop harassing her, and that they'd get a restraining order if I didn't back off. That hit hard. Rachel and I had promised to always talk things through no matter what. Now she wouldn't even hear me out. Then my phone started blowing up. Apparently, Rachel's friend had posted something on Facebook about supporting her friend through a terrible betrayal, tagged a bunch of our mutual friends. People I'd known for years started unfriending me. I got messages calling me every name in the book. My best friend from college, a guy I'd known for 12 years, texted me, "Dude, saw the video. Never thought you'd do something like that." I only sent him the word fake. He left me on read. Never heard from him again. But things escalated when my parents got involved. Marcus had shown them the video. Instead of questioning why their perfect son had this video in the first place, they called to tell me how disappointed they were. My mom was crying about how she raised me better than this. I tried explaining everything. I showed them proof, my location history, the impossible timeline, the way Marcus had been acting strange for weeks. I pointed out all the inconsistencies, the details that didn't add up. But Dad just sighed, shaking his head like he was disappointed. You need to take responsibility for your actions instead of making excuses and blaming your brother. Mom wouldn't even look at me, her arms crossed tight, eyes fixed on the floor like acknowledging me at all was too painful. The silence from her hurt more than anything. My older sister Lisa, who lives in Canada and barely talks to any of us, was the only one who messaged me, saying something felt off about the whole thing. But she was dealing with her own stuff and couldn't really help. The next few weeks were a nightmare. I couldn't get job interviews because the story had spread through my professional network. My landlord heard about it somehow and decided not to renew my lease. Even my regular coffee shop started giving me weird looks. My savings were draining fast. Unemployment wasn't going to cover my rent for long. I started selling stuff, my gaming PC, my bike, anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. I kept thinking about all those times I'd helped other people when they were struggling, and now nobody would even answer my calls. The only person who stuck around was my friend Mike from the gym. He didn't buy the whole cheating story, said something about how Marcus gave him weird vibes. Mike was the only one who actually listened to me one night sitting in my half-empty apartment. Rachel had taken most of our shared stuff. I hit rock bottom, staring at my phone, watching people I thought were friends share posts about showing true colors and karma. That's when Mike called. "Pack your stuff," he said, "all of it. I'm coming over with my truck." I started to argue, but he cut me off. "Look, man, there's nothing left for you here. My cousin owns a gym in Portland, says he needs help running it. It's not marketing work, but it's something. We're leaving tomorrow." That's how I ended up throwing whatever I had left into Mike's pickup truck at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. I left my key in the mailbox and drove away from 5 years of my life like it was nothing. That morning in Mike's truck, that was when my old life officially ended. Everything I thought I knew about loyalty, love, family, it all changed. But sometimes, you need to lose everything to see who's really got your back. Portland was nothing like I imagined. Mike's cousin Dave ran this old-school gym in a brick building that had definitely seen better days. No fancy machines or smoothie bars, just basic equipment, free weights and regulars who'd been coming there for decades. The first couple of weeks, I slept on Mike's couch. Dave let me work at the gym, mostly cleaning equipment, restocking supplies, basic maintenance stuff. The pay was terrible, but I didn't have many options. My marketing resume might as well have been toilet paper with all the bad references floating around. But slowly, the gym became more than just a job. The people there didn't know about my past, didn't care about some video or drama. They just cared if you showed up, put in the work, and treated others with respect. Mike and I talked about opening our own gym, something better than Dave's outdated setup. 6 months later, we launched with 3 working treadmills, a pile of free weights, and 0 customers. My marketing? Just flyers in coffee shops and blind hope. The first month, we barely covered half our expenses, but word spread. People liked our no-nonsense approach over the fancy corporate gyms. I started helping beginners with their form, realized I was good at it, and began offering personal training. Losing my marketing career might have been the best thing that happened to me. Less money, but for the first time in forever, I was actually happy. But my life really changed when I met Anna, a kindergarten teacher with a wrecked spine from working with kids all day. She showed up at the gym, nervous, admitted she had no idea what she was doing, and by the end of our session, she asked to train with me specifically. Over time, our sessions turned into conversations I looked forward to more than I wanted to admit. When Mike pointed out how much I talked about her, I realized I had feelings. The next session, I asked her out, and she just smiled and said, "I was wondering when you'd ask." Dating her was different. She never pushed about my past, just waited until I was ready. 6 months in, I told her everything, and instead of questioning me, she just hugged me and said, "Thank you for trusting me." That's when I knew she was the one. Then we moved in together. Her place, since it had a great balcony garden, and a cat, Princess, who liked me from day one. Eventually, I married her because when you find someone who truly sees you, you don't let them go. Now we've got twins, Ben and Sarah, age 4. They're basically tiny tornadoes that somehow learn to talk. Anna's amazing with them, obviously. I'm still figuring out this dad thing, but they seem to like me okay. The gym's doing great. Added a kids area so parents can work out while their kids play. Anna teaches a weekend yoga class now too. We're not rich, but we're happy, built something real, something honest. I thought that was my happy ending. A normal life, a beautiful family, a successful business. I finally felt like I'd put the past behind me. But lately I got a message from an old friend. Let's call him Chris. Chris's message was just a video attachment with the text, "You need to see this." I almost deleted it without watching. Chris was part of my old life, hadn't talked to him since everything went down. But something made me click play. The video was shaky, filmed in some club back home, music blasting in the background, people shouting over each other. Then Marcus appears on screen, barely standing straight, hanging onto the bar for support. He's talking loud, showing off to some girls at the bar. "You want to hear something crazy?" Marcus slurs in the video. "Remember my brother? The one who moved away? Man, I really messed him up good. He's laughing like it's the funniest thing ever. Found this guy online, real professional with all that AI stuff. Cost me like $15,000, but worth every penny. Made this perfect video. Looked exactly like my brother cheating, even matched his clothes from his work trip." The girls don't look impressed, but Marcus keeps going. His girlfriend believed it immediately. Should have seen her face. Everyone believed it. Lost his job, his friends, everything just like that. He snaps his fingers and almost falls over. Best part? Nobody even questioned it. My parents still think he's the bad guy. They don't know their perfect son paid some Russian dude to make fake videos. More laughing. Chris's voice comes from behind the camera. "Dude, that's messed up. Why would you do that to your own brother?" Marcus gets this weird look on his face. "Because he had everything I wanted. Good job, nice girlfriend, everyone liked him. He didn't deserve any of it. I just fixed things." The video ends there. I knew he was behind everything, but I still watched it maybe 20 times, replaying every word, every smirk. And then it hit me, $15,000. My brother spent 15 grand to destroy my life. Not just on fake receipts or manipulated messages, but on something bigger. The way the video was made, how seamless it looked, how even I had doubted myself for a second. This wasn't some cheap trick. This was something else. I felt my stomach drop. That's when I finally understood. I just sat there, staring at my phone, my mind unraveling, until Anna found me. She watched it once, got real quiet, then asked what I wanted to do. Before I could answer, more messages started coming in. The video had spread. Chris showed it to some people at the club. They shared it around. My parents called first, Mom crying so hard I could barely understand her, Dad trying to apologize but not really knowing what to say, kept talking about how they should have known and how could Marcus do this, like they were the victims here. Then came the messages from old friends. "Man, I'm so sorry, and I should have believed you." Each one felt like a slap. Where was all this support 5 years ago? Rachel messaged too, a long emotional paragraph filled with guilt and regret. Apparently, after I left, she and Marcus got married. They even have a kid now. But her message felt different, less about apologies, more about urgency. She said she needed to tell me something important, that it couldn't wait, and asked if we could talk in person. Then she sent another message. "It's about your nephew." Nephew. That word hit me like a truck. I did the math in my head. The timing matched up. Rachel got pregnant right after everything went down, right after she got together with Marcus. She kept messaging, told me Marcus took off when she told him about the baby, hasn't paid child support, won't even acknowledge the kid. She's struggling, working 2 jobs to make ends meet. She also admitted how much she suffered in their relationship, dealing with his manipulation and carrying the weight of it all alone. Watching her believe Marcus over me without a second thought, part of me wanted to feel satisfied, like she was finally getting a taste of what his manipulation felt like. But seeing her struggling alone with a kid, dealing with the same lies and games I went through, it just felt hollow. Yeah, she should have believed me back then, should have known better, but Marcus fooled everyone, not just her. And now there's an innocent kid caught in the middle of all this mess. I showed Anna the messages. She just held my hand and said, "Whatever you decide, I'm with you." That's the kind of person she is. Doesn't tell me what to do, just supports whatever choice I make. Mike came over when I told him what happened, brought pizza, sat on our back porch while I tried to process everything. He asked me what my gut was telling me to do. "The kid's innocent," I said. "He didn't choose any of this." Mike nodded. "So what are you thinking?" I spent all night talking it through with Anna. She pointed out something I hadn't considered. This could be a chance to break the cycle, to show my kids what it means to be a good person, even when people hurt you. The next morning I called my lawyer, set up a trust fund for the kid, enough to cover education and give him a good start in life. I made it clear the money's for him, not Rachel or Marcus. Monthly deposits, but no contact. I don't want to confuse him about who's who in his life. Rachel messaged again, asking to meet, to explain everything. Anna said I should do whatever gives me peace, but honestly, I don't need explanations anymore. The video showed me everything I need to know. My parents keep trying to visit, want to meet their grandkids, try to make things right, but I can't risk letting them hurt my children the way they hurt me. Some bridges stay burned. I wrote Marcus a short message. I saw the video. "Money's been set up for your son's future. Don't contact me again." He tried calling multiple times, left voicemails about being sorry, about changing, about wanting to make things right. I deleted them all without listening to the end. Tomorrow, I'm taking Ben and Sarah to the zoo. Anna's packing a picnic. Mike and his new girlfriend are coming too. That's what matters now. The family we chose, the life we built. The truth came out, but it didn't set me free or give me closure or any of that stuff. It just confirmed what I already knew. Sometimes there's no fixing the past. You just have to build something better for the future. Life's different now, but not in the way I expected. Getting your name cleared after 5 years isn't like in the movies. There's no big moment of victory, no satisfying revenge scene, just a lot of complicated feelings and messy situations to deal with. Rachel keeps sending photos of her kid, my nephew. He's got the same dark hair I had at that age. She says he loves dinosaurs and wants to be a firefighter. Each photo feels like looking at what could have been in some other version of my life where things went differently. The trust fund is set up properly now. My lawyer made sure it's airtight. Money goes directly to education and basic needs. Rachel can submit receipts for reimbursement but can't touch the principal amount. The kid gets control when he turns 21. It's not a fortune, but it's enough to give him options in life. Found out Marcus lost his job when the video went viral. Apparently, his company didn't like having someone who spent thousands on deepfake videos to frame their own brother. He tried showing up at my parents' house, but they wouldn't let him in. Karma's weird like that. My sister came to visit last month, the first time seeing her in years. She watched the twins playing in our backyard and just started crying. Said you should have done more, should have known something was wrong. I told her she's the only one who even questioned things back then. My parents still don't get it. They send emails about healing as a family and moving forward together. Last week, Mom mailed this whole photo album of my childhood pictures. Like somehow seeing photos of when we were happy would make everything okay. But I don't care about any of that anymore. The gym's expanding now. Got a second location opening across town. Mike's running that one while I handle the original. Last week, this new client came in, a guy who looked really familiar. Turned out he was from my old company. He didn't recognize me at first, then got super awkward when he realized who I was. Started apologizing about believing the video, about how everyone at the office feels terrible now. I told him not to worry about it, set him up with a training program for his back pain. Sometimes the best revenge is just being good at what you do. Anna thinks I should write a book about everything that happened, says it might help other people who've been falsely accused or lost everything. Maybe someday. Right now I'm just focused on the life we've built. Rachel sent another message yesterday, says my nephew's asking questions about his dad, about his family. Wants to know if I'd consider meeting him someday. I haven't responded yet, not sure I ever will. Oh, and Anna's pregnant again. Found out last week. A girl this time, according to the ultrasound. We're not telling many people yet, but it feels right sharing it here with all you strangers who listen to my story. Sometimes I wonder what I'd tell my younger self if I could go back to that day when everything fell apart. Probably that losing everything would lead to building something better, that the family you choose is stronger than the family you're born into, that sometimes the worst things people do to you end up pushing you toward your best life. The twins are calling. Time for our Saturday morning pancake tradition. Yes, the gym's doing great. No, I'm not planning to reconcile with Marcus. Yes, Ben and Sarah really do teach their toys proper lifting form. It's adorable. And to those messaging me about selling my story to Netflix, I'm not interested. This isn't that kind of story.